Print score is 78. Vicky. Oh, sorry, you're not Vicky. You're Fooney. You need to change that. Fooney, comment, please.
Well exposed, well captured, but there's nothing too exciting there to take us beyond that.
Next print, thanks. Okay, cool. Print score is currently 78. It's about to change. If David has his way, he's given it 87. You are on your own.
Oh, dear. Okay. Except for a little bit, I think, too bright in the centre. It's got text, it's got detail, but the transition from those dark moods from cool to warm, you know, this is certainly better than just silver. It's better than simply professional practice. There's a lovely journey through that from the subtle detail in the darks all the way through. The only thing that held it back was, as I said, a little bit over too hot, but that's where the light's coming from. That is where God is looking at us at this moment. So I'd encourage you to please reconsider.
Fooney, Trevor.
I just don't believe it's been done with finesse. That transition for the brightness into the shadows, that darkest area right in the foreground, it's just lacking something. It's sort of dark and muddy, and it's probably the way it is, but it doesn't complement the overall image.
Shireen, sorry, got your mouth full. You're almost there at 79.
I'm afraid I'm a bit with Fooney on this one. I found that for it to be in the award range, then the handling of the actual sky, to me, and that really hot spot just needed to be handled better. And whilst it's a well cropped image, it didn't take me there. I've got to be honest, David. Not this one.
Back to you, David. Work to do.
I'm just not sure that those points, and they're valid points for the author to look at, requires taking that many points off. I still think this is better than just average silver.
I have to stop you there. They're not taking points off. They're awarding points. It's an additive process. They're not subtracting.
Okay.
They're not starting at 100 and going, I'm taking off 5 for this and 5 for that.
Okay. But in a sense, it could technically, any print could bring 100. So, no, I just asked you to look. I mean, whether it, muddy at the foreground, no, it's part of what that film is. It moves you through all the way to the brightness in the sky.
Let's rescore. Okay, print remains at 78. Next print, please. So we might give David a rest, I think. Scores, please, folks. There we go. Print score is 84. Silver award. Sarah, you're the closest to that score.
Yeah, look, I think this is an interesting image. Great shapes, great texture. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Sarah. We're going to do a double judge change now. We're going to have Tony and David. We're going to swap you out with Paul Holan and Josh, please. And if you can do the thing here while we do all that. All right, we'll go to the next print now. Thank you very much. Print score is, I beg your pardon, 84. Silver award. Unanimous almost. Fooni, you're right on 84. Oh, I got you in the middle of much. Yep, go.
There's a beautiful romantic feel to the colour palette, and there's this lovely flow through the middle that extends from the tree through the clouds, almost like a wave, and there's this intriguing kind of element of the tree just leaning out of the frame that adds a sort of curious emotive quality to it. Tonal range is handled beautifully. Solid print.
It's a bit Constable-ish. Next print, please. Let's get those scores in, folks. Okie dokie. I have a print score of 79. You're on your own. Do you want it? All right. Go, Shireen.
As soon as I can get that microphone off the floor. I'm on my own, but that's the beauty of the awards, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so for me, when I'm looking for a landscape, I really love something that I feel is visually interesting, and that there's a depth going through it. So for me, the reason that I scored this 84 and a solid silver was because it gave me just that. Gave me a really interesting colour palette, really interesting points of view. There is a focal point. Love the cropping. You can see detail all the way through, and that's why I scored it a solid silver.
Okay. Now the lowest is not far from you at 77, and that's Trevor.
Yeah, although there's a nice timing to capture what the author has captured here, I just feel the whole lot is a little bit light and insipid, and it doesn't sort of draw you in. The colour palette being cold doesn't bother me so much, but just that lightness, I'm not sort of it's not pulling me in and communicating the feel of the scene to me.
Okay.
No, you're not.
In the absence of anyone else desperate to speak, we might go back to you, Shireen, and see how you go. Oh, you? Yeah? Okay, go.
I wanted to be in silver, but for me, there's a very strong cyan cast in that foreground that goes beyond cool. That for me, I think was just a color cast that shouldn't have been there, and I felt that the top of the print was very didn't add to me. It sort of bleeds off, and the clouds don't frame the image for me. They actually draw my eye up there and hold it. So for me, I felt that it just needed a little more work to get it up into the award range.
All right, Shireen, it's all yours.
Can you please just put it into silver? We're so close, but I really like it. I like it a lot. Is Bill in the room? Look, I really enjoy this image. The things that you've pointed out, Trevor and Josh, they don't disturb me, because I think it's an interesting color palette. It isn't all exactly the same. In the dark shadows, there is that cyan, but it is maybe a bit too much. But maybe that was the author's choice to present it to us this way, not all dark and moody. I think that it's a very interesting capture, and I think it deserves a silver award.
Let's see what happens when they rescore. Shireen, we are currently sitting on 79.
Very close.
Oh my gosh, you did it. Silver award.
Thank you so much.
Well done to you, and well done to the author. Yeah. Next print, thanks.
Nothing like appealing nicely.
Yeah, no, I just got 2 seconds because we've only got that. So I need you to run out and find another image, please. Print score is 74. We'll accept that with a comment from Josh, please.
Pleasant country scene. I think from that point of view, I have no objections to it at all. It's not really that sharp when you get up to the print, and I feel that it could have been. For single image capture, really you need to be working in some good light. It's a bit flat here, and it's lacking dimensionality.
Can I quickly accept that score and move on to the next print, please? Perfect. Even better. Even better. Excellent. The 18 is back. Excellent. Waiting on Fooney, waiting on Paul Holan's. Oh, sorry, not Paul Holan. I've got it now. Thank you. Next print, please. We apologise to anyone at home watching on live stream if the signal drops in and out. The people are working extremely hard to bring this to you today, and overcoming all kinds of technical challenges. They're a very hard-working bunch of volunteers. Be grateful you get anything. In the nicest possible way. Hope you're getting something out of this in live stream land today. This is the landscape single capture category, brought to you by the lovely people at Fuji. This print has scored 79. Pretty tight scoring there. We'll get a comment on this one from Josh, please. Oh, sorry, mate. Got you right in the mid-mouthful. Hold on. I'll swap it over to... No,
It's
can't
okay.
go to Fernie?
I'm
Oh, you're a fast
good. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
I scored it in solid professional practice because I thought it was I didn't think, I knew it was clever in the way that it's been handled with the circular mat. I like the way I'm doing loops with it when I look at it. I think it's cleverly framed of a very, very simple subject, and it represents good, strong professional practice.
Just one final thought on this one. As it's on 79, if they wanted to take this to APA, what would they do?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. A little bit of detail in the moon, and I'd perhaps look to just soften the whole thing down a little bit. Perhaps a very soft cotton rag paper to really make it sing.
Thank you. Next print, please. We've got 40 to go. That's supposed to be an hour and a half, judging or thereabouts, which would wrap it up at 2:30. All right, folks, let's have those scores in. This print scores 80. Silver award. Well done. A brief comment from Trevor Foon, please.
Could someone else take this?
Yes, of course. We'll take a brief comment from Shireen.
Bring down the cyans. I was joking.
Keep
Look,
it brief, please.
sorry. Are you talking about taking it to the next level?
No, I'm just asking for a brief comment on the print.
It's a very interesting print, and I actually like the color palette, and I like the way that it flows through. So, and I like the time of day that they've captured the image.
Thanks, Shireen. That'll do nicely. Next print, please. All right, my lovelies, let's get those scores in. Print score is 85, silver distinction. Big congrats to the author. Please.
Yeah, delightful image, incredibly well handled colour palette, and it was one of those images where I actually wanted to sit back a long time before I went forward, and beautifully rewarded when I did. There's this really interesting separation of it creates a bit of depth between this I don't even know what it is on the horizon line of blues, and the way the shadows ripple and create a similar sort of line just below, and the symmetry and also the asymmetry of the print is really quite intriguing. Well
Thank
done.
you. Good comment there, Matt. Next print, please. Print score is 70. Who would like to help the author with a comment? Go for it, Paul.
It's quite a complex image visually, and I think it's a little bit unclear what you want the subject matter to be. So a lot of it, there is a moment there and a pause and interesting lighting on the person, and they're looking towards something. But if you moved your position and simplified the composition so it's a little bit clear, or creating a line between where they're looking and what the subject might be, that it might be more striking and engaging.
Thank you, mate. Next print, please. Roger that. Print score is 77. Fooney.
Yeah, there's some nice things being captured here, but I'm really being led out to the left-hand side. The amount of brightness there is just overwhelming compared to the other subtle detail, the subtle tones in there.
Next print, please. Print score is 81. Silver award. Whoa. That was a fast hand. Print challenged by Paul Holland on 86.
I can't assume it's Australian outback, but it speaks to me of big sky country, of depth, of space, of harshness. I can read into potential building of dust on the horizon. There's this beautiful sort of breathing room and this gorgeous space around. There's a lovely leading line that washes you out into the depth, which is handled really delicately and quite beautifully. But it also speaks volumes of the harshness of it, and also man's almost intrusion in this barren space by having something physically made even within it. Just speaks volumes about who actually put it out there and why they did it. So both graphically and emotionally and narratively, and probably even the social commentary, it's got a lot of strength and communication going. So let's have a chat.
Well, okay. Hang on a second, Shireen. I'm going to hear from Fooney first.
Yeah, I sort of get the visual thing of isolation and desolation and harshness, but the tonal range, I feel I need depthness to have that gritty, harsh environment feel to it. It's so pastely, I'm losing that whole power that's behind the initial premise.
I think Shireen's desperate to speak, so we'll hear from her next.
Not quite desperate. Interestingly enough, the palette, I actually like the palette because it's almost like that opposition to what you kind of think it would be. You know, you might see those really ochre colours and the dusty, dirty, browny kind of colours, but it's been handled really, really interestingly for the landscape that we're looking at. I do love that there's so much detail all the way through and all the way to the back, and as Paul said, that open wide space, it really takes me to that place. So for that, I gave it already an 82, and I'll go up to a silver distinction.
Paul. Thank you.
Most has been said. Exquisite print quality, and the sharpening from front to back is like I don't think you could possibly improve that if you were the best in the world. But also, I love this lovely Z shape, this zigzag that runs through, that gives you a journey to run your eye through. It's done so delicately, speaks beautifully of space and volumes about the countryside. And I think that softness, Trevor, alludes to a broadness and a space that would be lost if it was done really contrasty in a harsh sort of lighting way. I think there's an interesting contrast between the softness and the harshness of the space that's handled well in one space.
Thank you, judges.
Silver distinction, please.
Let's rescore the print, and would encourage you to keep your comments a little more succinct, because the timekeepers out there are cracking the whip at me. That said, well done. 85. Silver award. Silver distinction. So we'll accept that and move on. Now, we need to do a judge change as well. Shireen, thank you. You need to pop out of there. Vicky, can you pop back in Shireen's spot, please? And we'll move on to the next print, thanks. We'll be keeping the judge changing happening, keeping you all fresh after lunch, so you'll all be coming on board shortly, gentlemen. I think Steve will be first, and then James. And Renee's. There you go. No worries, mate. I'll mind the store. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. Maddie's just gone to the boys' room. How we going, team? Love your work. There we go. Print score is 78. Challenge from Vladimir. Vladimir's on 84.
Yes, I definitely think that this print deserves more than just a professional practice. Printed really well, speaks volume with the color palette and cropping. Everything is just, I think, definitely deserves more.
Okay, I think Josh might have an alternate view.
Yeah, I'm on a completely different page. This is, look, I like the composition, to speak positively to the print, but it's just way overcooked. The saturation in the sky is very overdone. The tonality is therefore missing in both the sky, the way it transitions from that super saturated bright orange into the blue, and then down in the waterline, I'm missing that soft ethereal feeling that should be there in this kind of light. For me, I just can't see it. I'm sorry. There's too many. It's just too overcooked.
Vicky, you're almost there with 78.
I agree with the comments that have just gone before. I think it's an attractive image. I put it into professional practice. The colour palette for me is just a little overcooked. That's why I didn't take it any further.
We'll go back to you, Vladimir. You started this show off.
Okay, don't forget this is the single capture image. Basically, that's what obviously. There's no options to put it the different skies or anything like that. Maybe it's a little bit like exaggerated, but that's what I think it's that image needs.
Let's rescore the print. It's currently on 78. Print remains at 78. Before we go to the next print, we're going to judge change again. Fooney for Stevie Scalone, please. And we'll go to the next print now. Nicely done. It's fiddly. Oh, good. You can be the button pusher. Print score is 77, unanimously. Josh?
I think this is a lovely scene that we've all driven through morning mist or something like that, and you always stop and try and capture it, and most of the time we fail. It's a difficult subject to capture and more difficult to print. I think the photographer's done a pretty good job here. It's sort of sitting in that professional practice zone. I think some more aggressive cropping on the left would help draw my eye down the road instead of off to the left-hand side of that bigger tree, and would greatly improve the print. So if they want to take this to APPA, I would strongly consider a crop on the left-hand side.
Thanks, Josh. Next print, thanks. Good. Chop, chop. Thanks, team. Print score is 80. Silver award. Vladimir.
Nice print. Obviously, very well handled single capture. There's a few little cookies with steps or stairs in the water on a right-hand side, and it's very well handled. Thank you.
Thank you. Next print. Print score is 78. Very tight range of scoring. We'll accept that score. With a comment from Josh, please.
It's a very unusual capture, I think, of a common subject. I've never seen this sea stack captured in this way before, with the sun coming through like that. I felt it was a little bit of a missed opportunity, though. The dynamic range just doesn't feel very natural to me. It's the shadows have been so brightened up on that dark side of the stack that I lose the feeling of reality, and I think that it just needs more delicate handling. There's clearly detail in the highlights there, so this can be reworked and seriously probably well into the award range.
Thank you. Maybe darker? Yeah. Next print, thanks. Okay, we have a print score of 76. I think we'll sit on we'll accept that score. You may indeed.
Just a quick comment for the benefit of the author. This is single image capture, and I don't think I've ever seen a purple sky before, so I would just have a look at that.
Thank you. We'll have a quick judge change. Vladimir for Renee Thomas, please. Thanks, Vladimir. Just keeping things fresh. Next print, thanks. Print score is 72. Vicky?
I'd encourage the photographer maybe to reprocess. I think it's quite an interesting scene. A little sunburst is quite nice, but the highlight clipping around it is quite off-putting, and I'd take the point that was made before. If you tip the photo upside down, look for the lightest point, and then maybe have another think about how to process it.
Thank you. Next print, please. Print score is 79. Ooh, you guys, 78, 78, 78, 80, 79. I'm going to suggest we be a little more deliberate in our scoring choices. And I'm going to ask for a comment from Vicky again, because you're on 79.
I seem to keep doing this. I thought it was very well done. It certainly fell into professional practice. I was just looking for something a little more. I think the term cookie's been used, something to rest the eye. And there was just some slight little colour spot sort of in the middle towards the right that was a little bit off-putting. But the colour palette is lovely. It's a strong print.
Okay. So let's just use that full range of scoring at our disposal, folks. Next print, please. And the score is... Print score is 77. Let's have a comment from Josh, please.
There's something very strange in the middle of this print. Some sort of artifact or flare. I'm not sure what it is, but it really... I couldn't move past it. It just sucked my eye straight into it and got locked there. I really wanted to like it because there's beautiful, the framing of the print I quite enjoy, and that sort of, I don't know what it is in the water, the algae or plant is wonderful, but that big blodgy flare in the middle is really detracting from the print.
Thank you, Josh. Next print, thanks. What's in the bag of lollies? Ooh, there's lollies down the bottom. Do you want something from here? No, that's like these. You need minties. Dig a little deeper and grab a couple of lollies. Print score is coming. There we are. 83, Silver Award. Let's solicit a comment from Steve Scalone on this one, please.
Yeah, I enjoyed this this capture. It's been well exposed and well composed. However, there is perhaps some printing issues that need to be looked at, and perhaps a little bit of cropping, which I feel could elevate it into the next level. But well done.
Alrighty then. Next print, thanks. gents. Let's go, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. This print has scored 84. Silver award. Is that a wishing to comment, Josh? Go ahead.
Okay, a few quick comments on this print. It's very difficult to get texture and tone into snow when you're making printing white on white paper. So I applaud the author for that. I think they've done a wonderful job of making the snow come alive. I'm enjoying the contrast with the dark trees. I would have liked to have gone into silver with distinction with this, but I just felt that I have no connection with that sky. And a sky like that should be throwing, I would expect to be throwing light on the subject, but it's not. We've got this very neutral snow with this super bright, super wonderful sky. So I couldn't quite go into silver distinction, but I'm very happy it got into silver.
Thank you, Josh. We'll go to the next print, thanks, and a change of panel chair. We'll bring back the Craig Wetchen here, our new AIPP board member. And we'll have a Judge Swapperoonie. I was going to do this